Hello and welcome to our session for today, which is social media marketing for your business. And in today's session, we're specifically focusing on the meta ads. Okay, so it's not just any ad in a sense of boosting or promoting as we usually know it, right? Today, we're going to retarget our audience. Okay, so let's get right into it.
So we open up our Meta Business Suite in our Ads Manager section, and here you'll find the audiences, right? So you've got different options. So we're going to select creating a custom audience, so we can create our audience from scratch. Okay, so from there you'll see we've got different options, right? So when it comes to audiences, you can connect with people that have interacted with the business outside of Meta, as well as within the Meta platforms. So as you can see, we've got your sources like your website, your catalog, app activities there, any offline activities, and then we've got the Meta sources, right? So those that might have seen your video or engaged in some way by providing leads. So in this instance, we're going to select the Facebook page. Okay, so those that have interacted with us on Facebook. You can also have a look at it from an Instagram account perspective, which is also very good for certain brands that are quite attractive and have more traffic on Instagram. So for today, we'll select Facebook. Okay, we click next. So here we get to see and select our Facebook page in relation to the ad, as well as how people have engaged with the page, right? So we'll put an audience name. You can name it according to the brand or the specific area that the audience would be from. Okay, so that's entirely up to you. Do provide a description just to help yourself later on. Okay, so now we create our audience. So after this, we have an option to create another lookalike audience. And in this case, we're going straight to creating the ad. Okay, and we are done. So from there, we then can start with our campaign. So what shall we call our campaign? All right, so this one is a campaign targeted within the township in SA. So this is our assignment for today, but we don't have to say assignment, so let's just keep it to township brand marketing, and that's our campaign. We then move to check which categories are applicable. None of those are. Okay, it's just Facebook standard questioning there. We can leave everything there as is in terms of the auction, and yes, of course, we would love traffic, so it would be very important to actually select the best objective. So in our sense, we want to obviously create sales, right? So the best way for us to do that is to get leads. Okay, so we go ahead and select leads. As much as traffic is also a great option, with the leads you're able to draw as much information as possible from your audience as they respond to the ad. So as you can see, if it was a new brand, we would create awareness. Other brands already have traction and they just want a certain level of engagement, but in our sense, we want leads so we can actually convert them into sales. Obviously, if you were promoting an app, that would be the best option in terms of app promotion. and then driving sales. It's great for when you actually have an e-commerce store that people can then click through and buy. All right, so we select our leads. Then we click next. Okay, so now we have our ad set section. This is where we actually create the ad. Okay, so we can also title our ad set name. As we browse through the page, you'll get to see that we've got our budget there. We have the type of conversions that we would like. We also have the results on the right hand side, right? So I'm going to go ahead and just say this is our new leads ad because we've selected leads. So where do we want to get these leads, right? We would want to get a blend of messages and actually a form, because as mentioned earlier, a form is quite rich. It helps us to get more in-depth information depending on the questions that we pose, right? So we'll go ahead and select the instant forms as well as messengers so that we can receive it in our inbox. Okay, so if we were running an Instagram ad in this sense, we would select Instagram. Obviously there's for apps as well, and also if you wanted calls. Now we're just going through protocol, Facebook's protocol. Obviously we've read through these, so please do take your time to go through it. So with this section, cost per result, it's optional. You can put that in. In this instance, we'll leave all of that as is. All right, so we do want some form of dynamic creative, right? In this instance, we'll make our budget 600 Rand. And change that to our lifetime budget, not our daily budget. Let's also adjust the date so it corresponds with the budget. Obviously, since it's quite a sizable, reasonable budget, we will only run it for a week, right? So as you can see, the results have changed over there in terms of our reach due to the budget. So we go all the way down there. We won't be creating any form of budget scheduling. Here you're able to select exactly when the ad should actually come on, whether it's in the morning or it's at night. You can select those specific days as well. So in this instance, we'll just leave it and go straight to our audience, right? So we said we'll run it in SA only. Okay, we don't currently have any saved audiences, so we will just move right along down to further define our audience. Facebook also has an advantage audience option that allows you to trust Facebook in making sure it reaches the audience that actually is suitable for your brand, right? According to the aggregates, the results and the feedback they have in the back end. Okay, so in our instant, we will just adjust the age so that we have a reasonable age group, right? Because we are dealing with businesses here, so we would like to have an age group of say 24 to 65. So let's adjust that there, and we'll keep everyone both genders. All right. If there were any specifics, right, this is the place in terms of interest. So we want business people, so anyone really interested in or within the industry, the business industry, we want those groups to see the ad. Okay, any entrepreneurial space, okay, so entrepreneurship coming up there, and professional people, right? Because we find that a lot of people are working and also thinking of or have brands already, right? They're running as they're working. So we'd like to attract those people as well to also assist in terms of marketing their brands, right? Okay, I think we're good now, so we can move on. We still have our reach at a good rate. Okay, so advantages placement. This helps us to actually have our ads appear in the right platforms, spaces, right? So we can just make sure that we select where we want our audience to see the ad. Okay, so we'll keep everything as is because we do want everyone on Facebook, everyone on Meta to see our ads, right? So you can also just have Instagram on its own sometimes if you are very specific when it comes to the type of responses you'd like. Also knowing your audience, that may be a great option. Okay, so but because we are running an Facebook ad, we're going to select everything. Okay, or leave everything as is, right? So now we've got our ad name. So remember, this is for the township, and in this instance we will make it specific to females. This was recorded during Women's Month, so we will steer towards the female founders for today. Okay, so we have okay, just to leave that selection. All right, so this is where we add our creative. Okay, so we can add a video or an image. So we're going to select our image. All right. Okay, so in this instance you won't really see images pop up. However, you will get to see it once it's loaded. So select one that's coming from the actual account so we can view that. All right, so here we go. It's a digital post. We did poster. Okay, so we selected that image. Now let's put a bit of a description, have our primary text, our headline, as well as the description, right? So as mentioned, this is for female founders in the township. So we've got lovely packages designed specifically for them. Okay, so it will entirely depend on the type of campaign you're running, right? Whether it's for a hair brand or services brand, this will be very, very specific to the brand and the audience you're wanting to reach with this particular creative, right? So we'll just add a description just to give further details. Okay, and we want people to ask for a quote. Okay, so obviously if we wanted them to book a service, we would ask them. If we had some form of subscription, we would ask them to subscribe. So in this case, because we want the leads, we're asking them to contact us and ask for a quote. All right, so we've got our instant forms and messages section. This is, remember how we said we'd like the leads to come in. So we selecting the form type, just to name it there so that we know exactly what the form is collecting. Okay, so you have the different options, right, depending on the primary objective. So we would like to optimize with some rich creative in this instance. Okay, so we'll go ahead and select the last option there. Okay, and this actually requires us to have additional images. Okay, so that sort of act as a banner to our ad. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and add an image there. All right, a headliner and a description. Okay, and now we can go ahead and create the form. Okay, so this is just an overview of obviously enriching the form, right? Building the story, being able to add benefits. It does actually help in terms of attracting and giving your audience more to understand about the brand and what it offers. So the more you enter, the more details you add. Obviously, this is a trusted audience, right? So we want them to know the brand as much as possible so that they can give us information, and feel free to also give as much as possible, right? So we are building a story. Again, it's optional because we are essentially retargeting, right? Meaning this is an audience that has either seen the brand before, and now it's much easier to actually have them engage with us because they've seen it before. So we do want to leverage on that familiarity, right? So we're going to add some steps as to how we have our process. So as they engage, they understand how to get started. They can also know how it works. It really depends on the selection that you go for. So because we want to let them know how the process is as they start, since they are new customers, we are entering our details in terms of our processes. So the first step is book a call, and we describe that, and then we have an online briefing session where we get information, and we then able to provide a costing from there, right? Okay, so we've selected services, and now these are our service cards, right? So just to give more description, more details about our services. So just adding the logo there. I mean, ideally you want to add images that speak to the services, right? So for the purpose of this video, just selecting our brand images, not quite specific to the service itself. So it is very much advisable to match the image with the service. So for now, I'll select this one. Okay, and we add our title there. So this is our social media strategy. Okay, so mind your character restrictions. So we'll just call it a social strategy and then elaborate further in the description. Okay. So this is a 6-month social media strategy. Okay. So we can add then more cards later. Okay, so I'll get that done now. Let's move on to the questions. So this section over here is where we actually get to find out more from the customer, right? So as you can see, we already have full name and email entered there. So we able to actually ask multiple questions or questions in short form. So we've just added company name there because we do want to know about the brand, which brand are we dealing with. So we've just added the contact in the contact information section, and then now we want to get to the pre-fill questions, right? Okay, let's just give that a title, and then we can get into our actual questions. All right, so what would we like to know? Okay, so how long have you been operating for, right? So we would like to know essentially how old the business is, how old the brand is, right? Is it a new brand, or do we have to revamp because it might be a decade older? So it really helps us to know the type of brand we're dealing with. Okay, so who's the ideal primary customer? Very important question, because obviously every brand has its own target audience, so it's very important for us to know that. Okay, so some of the questions we don't have to ask outright, right? So what would success look like at the end of 3 months? Good information to have so that we can understand the ROI from the onset. But essentially, these are the types of details that we'd get from the briefing session. So we just want to keep it short. Would suggest 3 questions maximum. Anything beyond that, it does become quite a bit of a challenge for someone to sit and answer every single question. So the less you put, the better. Obviously, the better for the brand, but not really for the customer. So let's complete our form by adding some thank you messages. So all we did there was just to add our privacy policy. So if you have one, add it, and then a thank you message for when they're done completing the form, and obviously a call to action, so they can know more about the business, right? So visit our website for more info, and do stay tuned to our socials for all the updates. So just getting the website address there. Okay, and just pasting the link in. So we are all done and ready to create our form. Yes, we've still got those cards, so just filling those in, and we are now complete, and our form is created. Okay, so now we can go and review the ad. So as you can see, our creators are there. There's different options in terms of how it appears on Instagram and on Facebook within the feed. As an ad itself, right? So there are different placements across Meta. As you can see, it'll also appear in stories, okay, in Reels, as well as search results, right? So as you explore, then you get to see the ad. So essentially, this is how the ad will come out. If you have any form of tracking, your website, the app, or any form of way outside of Meta, then you can set that up. We're leaving that. Okay, so these are how questions will pop up, and our descriptions, right? So that's how they'll get to experience everything. and we are all set. Okay, happy advertising. And now we're officially ready to publish. And of course, your payment details. Okay, so let me know in the comment section how your ads ran. Have a lovely one. Till next time. Bye.